Hello out there, criminal warriors. In this video, I'm going to explain 5 ways to beat your theft charge. And that's coming right up. So welcome back to our channel. And my name is Lance Fryrear. And in this channel, I explain about the criminal law throughout Washington state. And it can apply to other places in the US as well. So if you're interested in this type of thing, I am glad that you've joined me here on this channel. So in past videos, I've talked about certain ways to deal with charges. And in this particular video, I'm going to cover 5 ways you can actually beat a theft charge. And so what is theft? Theft is intentionally taking the property of another, again, with the intent to permanently deprive the person of their property. So what does that mean? Well, taking someone's grill that was in their back porch, taking something from the store and running off with it. That's what we think about for theft. And so if you're facing a theft charge, you might be thinking about, well, maybe I should just plead guilty. Well, there's 5 ways that I can think of that we can defend a theft charge, and I'm going to go through those now. So the state prosecutor has to prove all the elements of a crime if you decide that you're going to fight your theft charge. And so one of the key elements that they have to show is that you intended to permanently deprive someone of their property. So the first offense I can think about that we might go over is one, borrowing. Hey, I borrowed my neighbor's shovel. I didn't intend to permanently deprive him of it. Hey, I was borrowing some other piece of property, right? The bicycle that was out, I intended to return it. And so it may not always work, but I have seen a borrowing defense work in the past when there was some question about what the intent was of the person who borrowed the property. Because again, theft is the intent to permanently deprive someone of their property. A second thing the prosecutor has to show is that the property owner did not consent. So consent to you taking or using their property. So the second defense that's out there that we can assert is consent. No, you haven't shown that the property owner failed to consent to me using the property, and that can be asserted if the property owner isn't able to be located, right? Because again, we're talking about here defending the case at trial. The prosecutor is the one with the burden. The suspect, the defendant, has no burden to prove anything. So if the property owner is not around to testify that no, I did not consent for someone to take whatever piece of property that I own, then the prosecutor may not be able to proceed with the charge. And so even cases that sometimes look helpless may not be so helpless. Again, going to intent, another defense we can assert, number 3, is mistake. Just because you grabbed your pair of shoes from in front of the door and walked off with them, and they turned out to be someone else's shoes, it doesn't mean that you intended to take that other person's shoes, because criminal charges for the most part require mens rea, and that's known as evil intent. And so if you mistakenly take property of another, mistaking it for your own, mistaking it for your wife's or your boyfriend's, hey, I thought that was my lawnmower. There can be all types of weird situations, and we can talk about it in the comments that some things don't seem very reasonable, but there are reasonable situations I've seen where someone's made a mistake about the ownership of the property. And so if the prosecutor can't show lack of mistake, then they're not going to be able to prove you guilty of theft. Another big one, and I've seen this come up in cases recently, is identity. For someone to be proven guilty of a crime, it has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they're the one who took the property. And that could happen in many situations. a police officer pulls somebody over and finds property in the car they believe is stolen from the target, but there's 3 people in the car. Well, the prosecutor has to show the identity of the person who supposedly stole the property. And sometimes identity is the key issue that can't be shown. Even with stores that have videos, if the person who took the property is not apprehended at the time, it's tough to identify them in some videos. It can be grainy. A lot of people look alike. So you're going to want to talk to your attorney if you have a situation where identity is in question and say, hey, is the prosecutor going to be able to prove that? Because again, that 4th thing, that the way we can probably beat a theft charge is the prosecutor can't prove identity. A 5th way we can beat a theft charge is by suppressing evidence based upon illegal police conduct. Now, for the most part, conduct of stores and things like that won't rise to the level of government conduct. So we're talking about a police officer stopping a vehicle, leaving a scene, and perhaps there wasn't enough individualized suspicion to stop the vehicle leaving the scene. Or perhaps an officer expanded the scope of a search illegally, or didn't get proper consent to search certain areas. There's things called Farrier Warnings and things that apply in Washington state. So if the evidence that the prosecutor needs to show of the theft is suppressed by illegal police conduct, then that's another way to beat a theft charge. And usually that type of defense will be done in a motions hearing and not at an actual trial in front of a jury. So those are 5 ways that we can help beat a theft charge. And that means, on the facts of the case. I'll give you a little bonus for staying at the end. Even if we can't beat it on the facts of the case, sometimes we can do something called a compromise of a misdemeanor. And that requires the victim signing off saying they've been civilly satisfied for the damages from any theft. And we have a video on that, which we'll display here. And another way, a double bonus, is we can also try to negotiate with the prosecutor to beat the theft charge. So again, I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. There's so little information out there when we're charged with a crime. It's the middle of the night and we don't know what to do, and we don't really want to call an attorney. So I hope you found these helpful. If so, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us get more information out there. And if you're in this situation, charged with a theft, and you need some help, feel free to give our office a call. Again, my name's Lance Fryrear. I own a law firm in Linwood, Washington, and we've been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years. Not every case is helpless or hopeless, and it's probably a pretty scary time you're going through. So if you need some help, give us a ring and we'll be there for you. Thank you.